Appreciate everybody jumping on a Saturday. Just got off the field here about 30 minutes ago, and really pleased for a scrimmage one like where we are. Obviously, it was important. Point of emphasis was playing clean football. We talk all the time about not beating ourselves by turning the ball over, having pre-snap penalties, mental errors, things like that. For the most part, I think that was good for a first scrimmage. Didn't really have a lot of pre-snap penalties like false starts and offsides and stuff like that. We were really good. Play clock, we had the play clock going. We wanted to be able to make sure offensively we were moving and efficient in regards to getting the plays called, getting the offense in and out of the huddle, and had very, very minimal of those. And a lot of that was probably more on us as coaches than it was the quarterbacks. I thought they operated at a high level. So clean ball, wanted to be able to see us play physical, run the ball, stop the run, and we showed flashes of being able to do both. Continue to be impressed by that defensive line on that first group, JJ and those guys, the way they can rush the passer. Really like what the first offense did today. We were working in multiple quarterbacks with our second offense, so all those guys got some work. Jason, Connor, and Colton. There were some things from an efficiency standpoint with those guys moving through the scrimmage that we need to be better at. But for the most part, they were good, and the physicality was good. And then injury-wise, we got out of it pretty healthy, I think. Cam Smith has a little bit of a hamstring. He did not scrimmage today. Xavier Leggett started it and wasn't able to finish it. Nothing major. He'll be fine. Eric Douglas was not able to scrimmage. He has a little minor issue that shouldn't be long-term at all, so we held those guys out. Those are the only new ones that didn't scrimmage and then want to come in. Alex Boogie Huntley as well. He had a little bit of a shoulder issue, probably the first 5 minutes of the scrimmage. That normal person, it may have kept him out for the rest of the scrimmage, but not him. He battled through that and got it fixed by the trainers on the sideline and was right back out there and finished the scrimmage. So it was good to see that, and talk to the guys about that afterwards as well. The mentality that we need to play with all the time, physical and mental toughness, and thought he showed that as well. And it was good overall. As you guys know, we've talked about it. We're thin in some spots, particularly on defense. And when you have guys like Jalen Dickerson, who's out still right now, and then Cam Smith not being able to scrimmage today, that takes an already depleted secondary and makes it even more depleted. So our second team corner today was a young man by the name of James Bartholomew that just arrived on the football team back in January or February in the walk-on tryout, and he's playing corner today with the second defense. Much respect for him. He made a heck of a play on a 3rd and 1 where he came up in a short yardage situation, tackled a guy on the perimeter for a lost yardage play in a critical situation. So, much respect for him and the way that all of our guys are fighting through some bumps and bruises and showing who we can count on and who's dependable and whatnot, and like where we're headed right now, and really eager to get in here and watch the practice tape here as soon as I get done with you guys, and a lot to build on. So sorry for the extended opening statement, but be glad to take any questions.
Raise your hand, and we'll get to you as soon as we can, David, with the first one.
How's it going, Shane? Thanks for doing this. At this point, where I guess percentage-wise, where are you guys on in installing what you want to do with your base offense and base defense, or is that even a huge concern at this point?
Oh, it is. I think we're pretty far along. We've installed everything from a situational standpoint for the most part. So we've got our base offense and defense in. We've installed everything from, or not everything. We've installed our base red zone. Excuse me, third down and short yardage goal line package. We have not put in the entire red zone package yet, but for the most part, our base concepts of what we're going to do are in. And then same thing defensively as well. Is there more that we're going to add as we go through spring? Yes. But we threw quite a bit at them those first 4, 5, 6 days of practice. We really didn't put anything in today. Wanted them just to be able to go out there and play fast. But we've thrown a lot of offense at them so far, and a lot of defense at them so far, and see what we do well and what we don't do well. But for the most part, it's the bulk of it is in right now.
Joe Gorcha.
Good afternoon, Shane. Hope you're doing well. I saw Gilmore was with you guys this morning, and you mentioned a depleted secondary, but just curious, having Gilmore there Would you have liked him to suit up today for the scrimmage? But more importantly, but more importantly, what was his message just being around the team and to the guys and just having him back in the fold today? What was that like?
It was awesome. I had him, and then we had Nathan Pepper out here as well. That was a defensive lineman when I was here before, also. So it was good to see Pep out here. Also, Stephon took off a little bit before the scrimmage ended, so I didn't get a chance to see him at the end. I was able to visit with him at the beginning, and fantastic. He's been nothing but be supportive since before I got hired and since I've gotten hired, of just reaching out, seeing how things are going. So it was awesome having him here today. Yeah, we certainly, that secondary could have gotten a lot better quickly if he was able to go out there and play. But we want to continue to bring those former players around, and what a representative of our football program and university and state that Stephon Gilmore is, and to have him out there was really cool. I'll be honest with you, he's you guys that know Stephon, he's very low key. I don't think anybody even realized that he was there when he walked in, and I'm not sure how many people even realized he was there when he was there. He's not a bring attention on himself type guy, but to have a guy like out there supporting us speaks volumes.
Ben Briner.
Hey, Shane, you mentioned a little about the quarterbacks. I wanted to double check Luke working with the first team, and also what did Luke and what were Luke and Jason kind of able to show you in sort of a scrimmage setting?
Yeah, Luke took the majority of the reps with the first team. I believe all of them, I think about it. We were going to mix some of those other guys in, but situation-wise, Luke was in there majority of the time. Thought he did a great job of just managing the offense, staying poised, trying to be a leader, showing his athleticism. The scrimmages are tough because typically you're going to have somewhat of a quick whistle when that quarterback gets out there in the open field and starts running, or he's in the backfield because he's in a non-contact jersey. So I know the offensive line and offensive coaches are not happy with me right now because I think I had a quick whistle on a couple plays that I'm sure they think Luke would still be running on in a game situation. But I thought Luke did a great job for him to still be a young guy, to show the poise that he showed out there. I thought was really good and made some nice plays. We've got to continue to get better at throwing the ball down the field. We didn't have nearly enough explosive plays today in the passing game. We got to be a lot better, and that's all of us. That's protection. That's the quarterback getting the ball out. That's running backs picking up pressure. That's receivers running the right routes and making plays when plays present themselves. So we've got to be a lot better from that standpoint. But all those quarterbacks, Colton, Connor Jordan got a lot of reps today. He's a guy that, we need to make sure we're talking about. Everybody wants to talk about Colton and Jason, and rightfully so. Connor Jordan's having a heck of a spring and doing a nice job out there for us. He got good reps, and he's a guy that has an edge about him and poise and confidence, and that's the thing. Made some plays. Jason made a nice throw, a deep ball downfield, which was good to see. But I think all those guys did some good stuff, did a lot that we got to correct, and a lot of that, those guys being young, it's just the mechanics of getting the play called, getting out of the huddle, and there's a whole heck of a lot happening when you break the huddle, get to the line of scrimmage, and you've got JJ and Jordan Birch and all those guys coming at you as soon as the ball snapped.
Hill McGann.
You mentioned Eric Douglas being out at center. What was it, one guy in there, or were y'all just kind of rolling guys in and out up front?
Yeah, train as many guys as we could, Cam, up front. So obviously you've got to have a couple of them, and we're trying to train as many guys as we can there. And they've been getting reps there throughout, spring practice as well. So it wasn't anything new today.
Con Taylor.
Shane, what have you seen from the running back room so far, especially today? And what has Zaquandre White showed you through the first couple of practices?
Love Zaquandre's just energy that he brings every single day he comes to work, practice field, weight room. He's got the same mentality every single day. I still remember when our very first walkthrough that we're able to have before spring practice, when you can't even use a ball. But I remember we simulated handing a ball off to him, and then just the energy and the speed, and he took off running like 40 yards downfield like it's a game rep. And I'm sitting there looking at him like, what in the heck is he doing? And JJ and some of those guys on defense were like, Coach, that's him every single play. That's just the way he is, and I love it. I wish we had more guys like that energy. He's been fantastic, and he's a physical guy that is on a mission and has a lot of confidence in himself and is having a nice spring. Kevin did some good things today. Harris, Rashad Amos, had some nice runs. Continuing to all those guys, not just carrying the football, but running routes and pass protection and all that stuff that you got to have. So there's certainly some good things they did today, and then a lot that we had a fumble in a short yardage situation, 3rd and 1, and we've got to get the first down, or at worst we're going for it on 4th down or punting, and we fumbled the football. We can't have that. But those guys, for the most part, did a good job at the ball security, and we're just continuing to kind of see who those guys are that we can depend on.
Dick Cox.
Hi, Shane. I know that you said you were not able to throw the ball down the field today, but what have been your thoughts on how the receivers have progressed this spring?
Really, really, really like them and what they're doing. I think Coach Stepp's done a fantastic job. We do after every practice, Coach Limbo and the special teams staff, they determine a special teams player of the day for everything that we're doing in special teams. And we're doing quite a bit. I mean, you count the walkthrough, we're doing 5, 15, 25. We're doing close to 25, 30 minutes of special teams work every single day. And the last 3 practices, our special teams player of the day has been a receiver, DeCarrion Joyner, Trey Atkins, and Xavier Leggett. So love the way they're working and the toughness and the mentality, the physicality that they're trying to bring to the position. I think all those guys have done some good things. AB, Marion Brown made a nice play yesterday. EJ continues to make nice catches. Jalen Brooks has really flashed and done some great things. Josh Van, Rico, Ortrey's done a lot. I mean, I don't want to name, I know I'm forgetting people, but really that whole group, I've been impressed with. I mean, they've heard the talk out there. I'm sure they're human about what they aren't, and I sit there and look at them, and I see a group that's working their butts off and making a bunch of competitive catches and continuing to try and make plays and working against that defensive back group each day. They're competing and making each other better.
Joe Gorchow.
Jay, I think you mentioned early on just with the explosive plays and trying to get the ball to go down the field. How much is that quarterback comfortability of willing to sit in that pocket and take that chance, and how do you have to work on that in practice to get those quarterbacks to believe that play is down there to make?
No, I think sitting in the pocket's not a problem. I think Coach Satt and those quarterbacks have done a great job from a fundamental standpoint of stepping up in the pocket. Now it's just understanding that we got some young quarterbacks, don't get me wrong, and the windows here in the SEC are going to close a little bit quicker and not be quite as open as maybe they were for Jason Brown at St. Francis. And they sure as heck are going to close a lot quicker and not be as open as they were for Colton last year playing high school football. So I think it's just a sense of understanding what's open, what's not open at this level, trusting it, being able to throw the ball when all heck's breaking loose around you. But if they were skittish back there and not willing to sit in the pocket, I'd be concerned. I'm not, because they're doing a great job of being willing to sit in the pocket. Now we got to take that next step where they know where they're going with the football. They're making quick decisions and they're getting the ball out of their hands. We had some sacks today where those guys probably held on to the ball a little bit too long as opposed to just getting rid of the ball, to an open receiver. So that's the one thing that we got to continue to improve on.
Ben Briner.
Hey, Shane, with kind of the state of your secondary at this point, what are sort of the things that you can learn and some of the things you maybe can't learn from kind of watching that group in this kind of scrimmage setting?
Yeah, good question. Like I said, we're thin back there. I mean, normally in a scrimmage, anywhere I've been, you've always your quote-unquote first offense has worked against your first defense, and your second offense versus your second defense, and your third offense versus your third defense. And we don't have a third defense right now. Our third defense is basically the second defense and a few guys that maybe are on that third group. And so our 3s versus 3s today, I think we got a total of 6 plays because pretty much that third group is the second group defensively. But what you can see is the guys that are out there, the execution. Can they get lined up? Can they execute the call that Coach White has called? Can they execute what Coach Gray's asking of them from a technique standpoint. Can they do their job? Can they play physical? O'Donnell Fortune made a heck of a play today on a short yardage situation where he came downhill and made a heck of a tackle, a physical tackle at the line of scrimmage. Being able to see that, Jalen and those guys back there just doing a really good job of just trying to play physical. Communication is key. Being able to talk back there and make sure we're all on the same page and executing the call, and all 11 of us are doing what we're supposed to be doing, getting guys lined up. So from the naked eye, just watching at first glance, I thought they did a good job of that, and that's certainly something you can see. And then the mental toughness and the physical toughness, just because they're taking a lot of reps, because we don't have a lot of guys out there, so there's not like they're getting many blows during the scrimmage. We're trying to take care of them, but they're working hard, and you're seeing how important it is to a lot of those guys.
Mike Yuba.
Sorry about that. Shane, what's your philosophy in terms of how you approach spring football? And what I mean by that is, obviously it's your first year here, and we know that competition's big, not just in the spring, but in the fall. But are you more concerned about the players competing for spots right now, or do you want them to just feel like, all right, go out there and compete? We want you to be able to understand what our concepts are, so we feel comfortable and feel like we have a foundation going into fall camp.
Yeah, yes and yes. I mean, both of those are what I'm trying to get done here with spring practice. For all of us, let's just learn the base foundation of these systems. Let's be able to go execute. Let's know who these guys are that we can depend on. Let's make sure that what we're installing and what we're asking our guys asking of our guys from a schematic standpoint that we can do. First of all, we're trying to figure that out as we go through spring practice and then go into the summertime. But also, yeah, absolutely competition. I mean, we're all about competition, and we talked about it after the scrimmage today when we called the team up. Is just constantly competing at every single position and seeing who we can count on and who's dependable and who can execute and do the things that we want them to do, who can take care of themselves on and off the field and do the things that we're asking of them to do from an accountability standpoint with body weights and nutrition and in the weight room and academics. It's all, and we're constantly competing. So is the team that's out there right now going to look like the team that takes the field on September 4th against Eastern Illinois? I hope not, and I don't mean that in a negative way, but we got a lot of guys that are standing on the sidelines right now that are injured, coming off surgeries and are in rehab, that weren't out there practicing today. Eric Douglas, Marshawn Lloyd, we know about. I mean, so many guys like that. Jalen Dickerson. I'm going on and on. Guys that are still aren't healthy right now that will get back. There's a group of freshmen that are coming in, or new players, new arrivals that'll be here this summertime that we'll be able to add to this group as well. So we're competing with the guys that are out there right now, trying to lay a foundation, but we also know that competition is going to continue, as we go through the summer and into preseason practice.
John Del Bianco.
Hey, Shane, is Luke Doty's snap count today indicative of him kind of separating himself from the pack through 6 practices, or is this by design, and maybe say another quarterback like Colton or Jason will get more reps next Saturday?
I would say through whatever this is, 6-7 practices, whatever we've had, that he's our, top quarterback right now. And I talked about it the last time I stood up here, that it's up to those other guys to make this thing a competition. And they're doing some great things, don't get me wrong. I mean, Colton, to be a freshman, I mean, we throw a lot at him, and he's been fantastic. Jason's been good. Connor's been good. But, right now, for the most part, yeah, Luke's the guy that's our offense looks to as a leader that's going to get the majority of the reps, and those guys got to make it a competition. And Luke's doing a great job right now, and got a ways to go as well. We're halfway through spring practice, but like where he is right now.
And where have you seen Luke's growth the most this spring? Maybe watching his film back from last year and seeing how he's progressed.
Well, I think, you go back to last year, he really didn't get a spring practice at all, didn't get a normal summer prep and all that stuff in a lot of ways. It was crazy for all of us, but especially a true freshman last season, especially a quarterback. So with him, I think it's just the he's a very, very intelligent young man, and understanding the offense and learning what we're asking of him to do. He's been fantastic. So that part's been awesome. The poise and the confidence and the leadership that he shows, he's been spectacular there. And then the thing that has been something that we've really been harping on that he's really worked at is just his footwork on his drops, his footwork in the pocket, his footwork when he's throwing the football. All those things working from the ground up. He and Coach Satterfield have really put a point of emphasis on improving that, and I've seen that. He made a throw in practice yesterday that some of the things that we've been talking about from a fundamental standpoint with him that we're wanting to see him do, he did down on a red zone play, threw a touchdown pass to Nick Muse, and it was a heck of a route, great protection, but awesome by Luke of dropping back, footwork being the way you want it to be, stepping up in the pocket, then ripping a ball downfield to Nick for a touchdown on a red zone drill was pretty cool to see, and got to continue to take steps like that.
David Cloninger.
Shane, who were some of the guys who scored today, and who were some of the guys who might have had a pick or a turnover today?
Juggling my memory right now since we literally just came off the field. I know Rashad Amos caught a ball over there on the sideline and scored a touchdown. I'm not even sure. We had a fumble and a fumble recovery. I think we had maybe one interception. We had a goal line period where Zaquandre White scored a touchdown in a goal line period. Jaheim Bell scored a touchdown in a goal line period. It's hard to say, David. I'm sorry. Without, I can give you a better answer next time I come up here and meet. But there weren't enough touchdowns. I know that. We need more of those. But we did have some good things happen out there.
Phil.
There we go. Hey, Shane. As you go through spring practice with a brand new group of, with a brand new group of coaches, do you have to kind of coach the coaches as to how you want the process to work on game day? Like getting the plays in and how things are going to flow among the coaches since you're a brand new group. You use spring practice and these scrimmages as sort of a coaching time for you of coaching up your coaches.
Yeah. We've all been part of it, but every staff, every head coach, every coordinator is different. So we're all kind of learning each other and things like that, So yes, to answer your question, today was a little bit tough because we were on the practice field for the scrimmage instead of the stadium because of the Topgolf event that's going on over there right now, which is fantastic. Don't get me wrong. I'm not complaining. It's awesome that they're in Williams-Brice Stadium right now. We had a great time over there ourselves as a team the other night. So we were on the practice field. So it was a little bit tougher because now you don't have your press box where you can have communication from the field to the press box and things like that with your coaching staff. And the mechanics are different because I'm standing out there on the field a little bit. So we're all that's something that we're definitely coaching each other up on as far as what we expect. And we got some good work at that today as far as being able to get calls in and execute. And I thought we did a good job of that, Marcus and Clayton both. And then the special teams work that we did with Coach Limbo also. But yeah, that's a work in progress and always will be. And really with college football, it's always going to be a challenge because we're the one sport at any level that does not have any kind of like preseason game, preseason scrimmage, exhibition against another team. So the first time that we go out there and really, 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 really do it for real is a game. We don't get like a trial run other than the scrimmages. So yeah, not so much during spring practice, but definitely in August we'll make that as very much game-like as we can.
Back to Colin Taylor.
Shane, you mentioned obviously Clayton White. Just what have you seen from his defense so far? And a lot of guys have come in talking about how aggressive it is. What does an aggressive defense look like to you?
Well, to me, it's playing with physicality. It's playing downhill. It's playing with unbelievable effort, flying around to the ball, and we've really harped on those guys about effort and how fast can we be, and tracking their speeds during practice, and just playing fast and playing physical. To me, that's the start of what we want that defense to look like with the aggressiveness part of it. But I think it's like I've talked to you guys about before. I think it's very multiple what we're able to do from a schematic standpoint, and being multiple up front, being multiple in the secondary, but allowing our guys to to play fast as well and try and have answers for everything. So I've really been pleased with those guys and really been impressed with what they've done, the way they're executing, the way they're getting better, the way that all those position groups are being taught. Really excited about that group and where we're headed.
Dick Cox.
Shane, how do you feel like your accountability program's going with the players and with all your new coaches? Are the coaches participating with accountability to Bill Bonds within the coaches too?
Yeah. One thing we talk about certainly as a staff and as a team is holding each other accountable. So to me, that's not just, I think some of the players maybe this week talked about some of the things we're doing with having a partner and in nutrition and some of the other areas as well. That part's been great. But yeah, we've been talking about accountability since the day that I got here. And to me, that is me as the head coach, holding everyone accountable, that if we say something's important, then we're going to hold you accountable to it. If we say that we're all supposed to be wearing white socks at practice and somebody doesn't have white socks on, they're going to go back inside and get the right socks on. If we're supposed to be in full pads and a player doesn't have the pads in like he's supposed to, we're going to send him back in and change. If guys are late, there's going to be, that'll be dealt with. So it starts with me holding everyone accountable, and then me making sure the coaches are holding their positions accountable for the things that we ask of them. But no, I think it's been good, and pleased with where we are with that.
Back to Ben Briner.
Shane, you mentioned kind of being multiple on defense. I wanted to ask a little about on offense, just in terms of EJ Jenkins in kind of a scrimmage setting. Are you guys able to move? Are you guys moving him around, trying him in a lot of different stuff, or just kind of sort of focusing him in on fundamentals, getting used to kind of, a first scrimmage on this level?
No, we're moving him around and doing different things with him. A guy with his size, we'd be crazy not to utilize him in different roles. And I think right now with spring practice, it's trying to figure out, what he can do. I shouldn't say can and can't do, but what he's best at. Is it smart of us as coaches to ask him to line up and go take on a tight end position and go take on a linebacker on an ISO block on the goal line? Is that very smart of us, or are we better off, lining him up there as a 6'7" receiver and throwing fades to him? I think there's a lot of things that we're trying to figure out as a staff, how we utilize him. But offensively, we're multiple enough that with our formations and how we call stuff, that we can get guys in the places that we want to get them to be able to execute and create matchups. And EJ's doing a great job of learning. He's got a lot on his plate right now with what we're asking of him, but really excited about how he's approached spring practice. And you see him, getting better each practice, and he's made a lot of really, really good competitive catches the last few days in particular.
David.
Yeah, Shane, you mentioned some of the injured guys and, kind of standing on the sideline there. Is there anybody right now that's got an injury that might linger into the season or even longer? Do you have anybody like that right now?
No, knock on wood. We expect everybody, some of these injured guys that aren't practicing, we hope to be able to get back to do some things. Guys like Jalen Dickerson, he feels good. Saw him in Chipotle last night, and we were talking, and he said that he feels great, and I know he and Clint are optimistic that he'll be able to get out there and do some things before the end of spring practice. And all those guys that are coming off surgeries, or all those guys that are banged up since spring practice started, none of them are a long-term issue that we expect to linger past, probably the beginning of the summer would be the latest that we get, anybody that may be out right now back.